If you think love is simple, think again, because this story will drag your heart through fire, rebuild it with hope, and leave you craving more. Before you dive in, hit subscribe so you never miss the next unforgettable tale that keeps you awake at night. What is love if not the mystery that keeps us moving, questioning, breaking, healing, and returning again and again to the same burning center? Alina had always asked herself that question, not because she lacked affection in her life, but because she had never experienced the type of connection that felt like a spark catching fire inside the soul. She was the type of woman who walked through life with poised silence, a calm spirit layered over a restless heart, a woman who believed love was something distant, something meant for others, until the day she met Zayden, a man whose presence felt like the answer to a question she didn't know she had asked. Their meeting was simple, unplanned, almost forgettable, except it wasn't, because the moment their eyes met, something shifted, something undeniable, something powerful, something that made both of them pause as though the world had suddenly slowed its spinning. Zayden was not the typical man she expected to fall into conversation with. He was confident but not arrogant, warm without being overwhelming, thoughtful without seeming rehearsed. When he spoke, he looked directly into her eyes as though he was not merely talking but searching for something deeper within her. And when she responded, her words betrayed her careful nature, spilling out more freely than she intended, as if her heart recognized him before her mind did. They talked about ordinary things, books, places, dreams, regrets, but the conversation felt extraordinary, stretched by moments of charged silence that neither could explain. It was during one of those moments, when they simply looked at each other with quiet curiosity, that Alina realized she was experiencing something she had only read about, attraction that wasn't shallow or fleeting, but soul-stirring, as if two invisible threads were tugging them closer, weaving a new pattern neither planned for. Over the next few weeks, they met again and again, sometimes intentionally, sometimes by chance, sometimes because neither of them wanted to admit how desperately they were drawn to the other. Alina found herself laughing more, smiling more, feeling more, while Zayden found peace in her presence, a calm he never knew he needed until she brought it into his world. But love, true love, never comes without its shadows. Zayden carried a weight he had kept hidden for years, a complicated past full of choices he wasn't proud of, moments he wished he could erase. And Alina, despite her growing feelings, sensed the heaviness in his eyes every time he drifted into silence. One evening, as they sat by the river, watching the fading sunset paint gold across the water, Zayden finally spoke the truth he had buried for too long. He told her about the mistakes he made, the people he lost, the broken parts of himself he feared would break her too. He told her he wasn't perfect, that his life wasn't spotless, that he wasn't sure he deserved the kind of connection they were building. Alina listened, not with fear or judgment, but with understanding. She didn't flinch, didn't pull away, didn't let the shadows of his past darken the growing warmth between them. Instead, she placed her hand over his, a gentle, steady gesture that spoke louder than any words ever could. Everyone has a past, she said quietly. But not everyone has the courage to face it. The fact that you're willing to tells me more about who you are now than anything you did before. And in that moment, Zayden felt something he hadn't felt in years, hope. Their bond deepened, strengthened by honesty instead of perfection, vulnerability instead of illusion. They walked through late nights of long talks, through moments of deep laughter, through days when silence said more than sentences. Alina discovered sides of herself she never knew existed, courage she didn't know she had, tenderness she didn't know she could give, and a growing desire to build something real with the man whose heart she was slowly healing. But love is tested, always tested, and theirs was no exception. Zayden received an opportunity to leave the city for a job he had been waiting for, a chance to rebuild the life he once lost. It was everything he needed, everything he once dreamed of, everything he had promised himself he would take if it ever came again. Except now, leaving meant walking away from Alina. They stood together the night before his departure, under a sky full of stars that looked too beautiful for such a painful moment. Alina's heart was breaking quietly, without tears, without drama, only the soft ache of someone who loves too deeply to stand in the way of another's growth. "Go," she whispered, "not because I want you to, but because you need to. If you don't take this chance, you'll regret it forever. And I don't want our story to become a regret." Zayden cupped her face in his hands, torn between love and duty, desire and destiny. "And us?" he asked, voice trembling. "What happens to us?" She smiled softly, though it hurt. If what we have is real, distance won't destroy it. And if it isn't, then it was never meant to last. Months passed, and though distance stretched between them, their hearts remained tethered. Messages turned into calls, calls turned into long confessions of longing, and those confessions turned into the realization that what they shared wasn't fading, it was growing stronger, deeper, truer. When Zayden finally returned, he didn't need to say anything. Alina saw in his eyes that he had come back not because he was done chasing his dreams, but because she had become part of them. And in the quiet embrace that followed, they both understood what love truly was. Not perfect, not easy, not predictable, but real, resilient, and worth everything. End story.